Welcome once again to my channel. My name is Godwin, and the channel is This is Godwin. In today's episode, I'm coming your way with a very interesting topic that I think I have actually been monitoring news companies and news agencies across the world, and I think I need to bring this for us to discuss. If you are joining me for the first time, I'd like to say welcome to my channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. There's that black button down there. Click on that black button, subscribe, inscription, and subscribe. Now, Sweden had announced that it's going to pay certain immigrants to leave the country. This is a move in this country to, as a matter of fact, encourage integration and relocation of certain immigrants within the country. Sweden have decided that it's going to pay up to $34,000 to certain immigrants, especially Africans, Caribbeans, etc., to return back to their countries. Is this a good news? Does it really resonate as people that have actually migrated into these countries to look for greener pastures? This is scheduled to start in 2026, and there are a large number of immigrants, especially those of us from Africa and the Caribbean, that basically will be part of this program. $34,000. Let me know the equivalent in your country. If you are from any of these countries, or I mean, let me know the equivalent and what this money can do in your country, as to also staying in Sweden and working and living there as well. Does it really sound as good news for those who even doesn't even have stay, etc., work permits, etc., in these countries to also benefit from? You see, this system had already been in place in Sweden, according to some of the news agencies, right? According to the official website of the Swedish immigration authorities. I think it started in mid 1980s and offered, I think, $970, about 10,000 kroner to adults, and then $485. That is about 5,000 kroner to per child to live. But I think this package is a bit bigger and much, lucrative, maybe as compared to coming home with nothing. But is this a side of good news? Is it a side of relief for immigrants, and especially being a black man, being an African, for Africans and black people living in Sweden, as a matter of fact? I'd like to see your comment come up. Let me know where you're watching me from, which country, or your thoughts on this issue, and as to the, the fairness of this whole issue. If you think this issue is something that basically is a welcoming news for in the, in Sweden, of course, and in Europe as well, let me know. And if you think it is basically something that you think should be reconsidered, let me know. But then the issue here is that 34,000, that's not bad. You live in my country, and I'm saying I am restructuring my immigration policies. I'm restructuring how foreigners should live in my country. I'm talking about asylum seekers, those who have entered in diverse ways. And I'm saying I'm offering you $34,000. If you live in Ghana, where I live, $34,000, what's going to be the equivalent in Ghana cities? I'm going to give you the equivalent in Ghana cities. Let me know the equivalent in your country's currency as well. 34,000. It's some sum of money, but maybe probably if you live in Sweden for maybe from 2024 2026, you can even make more than that $34,000. Or maybe, let's say if you live in the next 10 years, that you can make this amount of money. In Ghana cities, it's roughly around 536,000 Ghana cities. That is the old 5 billion or so, 5 billion, of course. 536,000. That's a lot of money. It can start a lot of businesses in Ghana, in my country, as a matter of fact. But I don't know about your country. I don't know the inflation rate in your country. I don't know the dollar equivalent in your country and the exchange rate in your country. But now, you see, this policy for me, I would say has two sides of the same, because it's about two sides of the same coin, in the sense that it's going to also help some people, especially if you are over there and you don't have a good job, and maybe you are doing black, or maybe you are doing certain jobs that actually don't fetch you that much. $34,000, I think it can do something. But the point is, leaving Sweden to your country, and back, as we say in our local parlance, back to Batam. How are you going to feel? But I think the aim of this thing is to, as a matter of fact, embrace integration of the migrants into their society. And as well, because if you are coming home and you are coming with empty hands, it wouldn't sound that great to your family members. It isn't going to sound great to even, your friends. So I think uh, there's some social turn to the whole policy, and I think it's a great opportunity for some people, I must say, because in certain circumstances, people come home with nothing. People even live in Europe. I've met people from Africa who have lived in Europe and for so many years, and maybe probably things didn't work out, and they come back and then we don't even come up with even half of that. But is it a justification to bring people back to Africa? And now let me also talk about the fact that the first president of Ghana said something, and I quote: "The black man is capable of managing his own affairs." So, is it a clear case of the black man being capable of managing his own affairs? And as a matter of fact, being made, you see, it has been packaged nicely, voluntarily, right? I do believe some people might have even spent more than that traveling to these countries as well, in terms of not even financial, but physically, emotionally, and so on and so forth. Right. So I am waiting for your comments on this issue. Let me know what you think about this, and let me know whether it is a clear justification for us as a people, and as well as Africans and Caribbeans per se, those guys coming from the so-called third world countries. Is this a welcoming news to us, or it is something that basically is going to be a big blow to the affected people in these countries? In fact, I have read around and I've researched around the internet, and I have interacted with a lot of people around the internet, and to some people, it's a big blow to them because they haven't gotten what they want in Europe, as a matter of fact. And $34,000 is just a pittance for them. Right. Some have also welcomed the fact that if this had to go through, it's going to be a good news for them. With 30, with this amount of money, that's about $34,000. In my country, Ghana, it can start a real estate business, especially if you are living outside the national capital or even within the national capital. You can get land at a specific price and start doing something. You can open a restaurant. There are a whole lot of businesses that this thing can start, right? But the point is, people travel for different reasons. Let me take a coffee break. I'll get back to you. People travel for different reasons, and for different purposes. Apart from relocating home, some people are fed up with where they live. Some people had issues with their family. Some people have also struggled back in Africa to get to where they are, right? Just to make a living. Now, the question I am asking is, how can you assure the proper integration of these selected migrants that are coming back home with this $34,000? Some might come back frustrated. And I must say that this is not to derogate, but I must say that Europe is something that we Africans, or Europe is a place where Africans, come and then look for greener pastures. And people have reasons and time frames that they travel to live in some of these countries. So if you tell me to come back and I've not achieved my aim, $34,000 wouldn't be nothing for me. But I think they use the term voluntary. So what we are yet to see by 2026 is that we want to know whether it's going to be compulsory or is an offer. They give you $34,000 and then you come back. If you were living in Sweden, if you're an African living in Sweden and this offer came up, will you give up your work and then return back to Africa? They are also, according to some news reports, they believe that that country has, for some years, been a humanitarian superpower and have opened its borders or opened its doors and its arms to a large number of asylum seekers, more than I think any other country within the European continent and within the European Union. A lot of people have migrated, not only from Africa, from the Middle East, and many other places, the Caribbean as well. And the point here is that why are they doing this? Is it because Africans are becoming many, or is it because research from their part have shown that certain issues have actually, or certain problems have arisen as a result of the actions and way people live back there as immigrants in those countries? Now, does this sound like a red flag? Is there going to be a wave of this particular action across Europe? Is anyone predicting or thinking about the fact that one day this will also come across or cut across Europe as a matter of fact? Let me know your comments. Let me know what you think about this issue. Let me know whether it is fair to, as a matter of fact, embrace this new directive from the government of Sweden. And can one say that, as a matter of fact, $34,000 is worth, or is an exchange for one living the luxury, the quality of life, the systems, the procedures, etc., in Sweden, and for that matter, Europe, and then relocating back to wherever they came from? Now, are Africans capable of managing their own affairs? Let me take a coffee break again. Yes, I'm back. I'm talking in terms of the black race. I am an African, so I want to talk for Africans and for Caribbeans and for black people. So now, you think if you are to be in this country, and as per what the news channels are reporting, it's voluntary. Will you trade the quality of life in Sweden? And for that matter, would you trade the kind of good living you are living over there for, as a matter of fact, this particular initiative? How are you going to welcome this initiative? Is it going to be something that you would basically, as a matter of fact, embrace? And you think every African should be proud to return back? or black people or immigrants should be proud to return back? Is this a welcoming news, or is a big blow to our brothers and sisters living in this country? In fact, if you were enjoying, that good life in Sweden, and maybe you are an asylum seeker or you find your way into Sweden, $34,000. So let's say you are making, on the average, say, 1,500 euro a month in Sweden, maybe probably sweeping the streets. Do you think this is something that is going to replace the kind of life that you live? Living in an advanced country where systems, transportation systems are perfect. Economic systems, technology. Talk about society as well. Demographics, education, culture, media, everything is excellent. How are you going to, as a matter of fact, integrate this? How are you going to see this? How are you going to accept this paradigm shift? As they say, change might come. And when change comes, change is imminent. And when change is imminent, people might resist change. Are you going to resist this change? And what do you think these migrants, especially those from Africa and the Caribbeans, should do, as a matter of fact, to either be exempted from this whole, I mean, exempted from this whole program? For example, if let's say you don't feel like coming back and you want to stay, can't the government actually put certain measures in place? Some of the news channels allegedly has reported about the fact that there has been, I mean, certain issues relating to this particular, I mean, should I say, directive. Some have allegedly talked about increase in violent crime. I mean, sexual offenses and other issues that basically were not prevalent in Sweden. In fact, the authorities have raised concern about the increase in some of these social vices. And as a matter of fact, this has actually brought about. If you live in Sweden and you are watching me and you believe these alleged allegations are not what it is, kindly leave a comment. Let me know. This is the part one of this particular discussion. We'll bring the part two. Let me know if these issues are really pertaining and it is justified. Is it justified enough for this to come? But I think if you are there, you don't have papers, you don't have documents, or you don't have a job, then I think this is going to be a good directive because people even are repatriated back home with nothing. And like I said, $34,000 in my country, Ghana, can do a lot. It can do a whole lot. But then, in to some extent, like I said, people have reasons for traveling. So leaving the comfort uh, and the advancement in Sweden and in Europe, as a matter of fact, and coming back to your country. Country broke or country no broke. Now you have to come to country broke or country no broke. This is not to say that I'm not saying that Africa is broke, but it's just saying just to, I mean, to to create some kind of a humor in this presentation, this live show that I'm doing. Now let's take a nosedive into this thing a bit. Let's take the social aspect of it. Relocation. Now, if people have to relocate with this money, they are coming back to economies where they were from. And as the news reports also said, most of these people are asylum seekers that have actually seek asylum, right? So if you are coming back home, are you coming back to the old situation with $34,000? Now, let me know your comments. I would be happy if I could get people on in Sweden. I'll see if I could link up with Krish, my world, who's also a vlogger like myself, and maybe in the part two, I'll see if I could get him on so we can come on live and then we'll discuss this issue maybe in the next episode of this very wonderful live presentation right here on my channel. The channel is This is Godwin, and my name is Godwin, the marketer turned vlogger. In fact, I might say that this particular initiative might be good news for some people. It might be good news for some people. For some people, too, it might be a bad news for them. But it is better coming home empty handed than coming home with something. How much is the minimum wage? Minimum wage in Sweden, if you live in Sweden, let me know. And then if you have to relocate back home for 10 years, how much are you going to make on this 34,000 as compared to how much you'll be making if you have to live in Sweden for the next same number of years, right? So, but from what I'm seeing from the internet, a little bit that I'm doing from the internet, it sounds as if the Swedish basically doesn't have a specific, uh, I mean, figure when it comes to minimum wage. I mean, talking of mandatory minimum rate of pay in of workers. That's what I'm seeing from here. Let me see. Let me check. I think from Wikipedia. Let me check from Wikipedia. Let me go down to. Let me check. I think there are some websites giving me different information. So there's no legal definition from what I am seeing. If you live in Sweden and you are watching, kindly leave a comment. Let me know much about that. And I think it's we have its both negative and positive sides when talking about these things. And the whole issue is that in terms of relocating, I mean country specific relocation, we are talking about the fact that the value of $34,000 might vary in different countries. So looking at the exchange rate. But I think a lot of research might have gone into this before such policies will be rolled out, right? So we are looking more at the research that has gone into, I mean, giving this because initially, per my research, this system has been there for a while, but it was offering something lower to immigrants across this very country. According to some of the news report that I have read so far, it has not been an issue that is only limited to Sweden. Their neighbor Denmark have also tightened their policy, and so this policy of deterring mass immigration does not only have to do with just Sweden, and for that matter, that particular country. Some of these countries in Europe have also beefed up deportation laws, have lowered refugee quotas, and have passed laws to reduce the influx of people into these countries. Now, the question you ask yourself is, Africans have fought for independence for so long a time. Ghana was 1957 when our first president declared the fact that we're capable of managing our own affairs. So why I'm talking this for Africans and for Black people and for Caribbeans, etc. Why should this be a worry if we have traveled to those countries and they want us to come back? Should we, as a matter of fact, as a people, see this to be, something that is a bad news? In the first place, I also I'm also beginning to believe and beginning to think that we didn't travel there just for fun. People who have traveled there did not travel there for fun, right? And I must say that they travel there to seek for greener pastures and to also maybe probably live a different life and to change environment as well. So what basically would one have to gain from $34,000 returning home? If it were me, I don't mind if I don't have that particular grounding living in that country. Why don't I get the money and return back to my home country, Ghana, where I can invest that $34,000? That's a huge sum of money. People have gone on retirement and they will never see some of this money in their lives in certain countries, as a matter of fact. So I think it really resonates a bit, but should one say that this is a welcoming news? Is it a good news or is it bad news? And if Africans per se had basically called for liberation, total liberation, independence, and all that, then coming back home shouldn't be a big deal. Should coming back home be a big deal for us as Africans, as a people that has actually taken our independence back? But if you take a look back into Africa, Africa has also lost a lot from the transatlantic slave trade. And so our economies basically have also not been stable over the years as well. We have a lot of, Africa has abundance of natural resources, from metals to oil to, I mean, everything that you can think of. Even arable land. Africa has two-thirds of the world's arable land. But I think the effects of the transatlantic slave trade has long affected our utilization of these resources. You would have most of our natural resources, minerals, etc., being managed and manned by the same countries that colonize us. You have the multinationals coming all over from these countries. So we have been left with a lot of things to handle. We have a lot of problems to tackle. That is going to take Africans so many, 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 many years to solve. It's going to take so many years for us to solve. When you take political issues from democracy to policies, political policies, and so on and so forth. Before the white man came, Africans or black people didn't have anything like socialism, communism, capitalism. We had our own system that was working perfectly for us. But the effect of transatlantic trade had come to erode all these things. They brought in the policies of assimilation association in the francophone or French speaking countries. They brought in the indirect rule in the English speaking countries and many other countries as well within the black fraternity. Economically, we haven't been able to stand on our feet due to some of these things, or due to some of these issues that we're talking about. Our educational system was something else, and even now we are seeing improvement, but it still leaves much to improve, right? So we are having lots of issues. Talk about the power of the currency of African countries. We produce a lot of products from agricultural product, etc. We take it to the world market, and price is sometimes determined for us. So there are lots of things for us to handle. We have the natural resources, we have the minerals. We used to have gold. Who told you that we were not mining gold? Where did the Ashantis and the other fraternities within the African continent got their gold from? You cannot tell me it was when the multinationals came in and they were mining. We were mining our gold already, right? But they came in with technology, blah 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 blah, blah. And now those technologies are the ones they are bringing in to mine our own gold and mine our heavy metals. We have all the all the resources you can think of, from metals to agricultural products to every single thing. But you realize that it's the same multinationals from the same people that we ask them to leave our shores who are coming back. Is it neocolonialism? So now, if people are going into these countries and now they're saying we should come back to our countries, is it another form of also telling us to come back, but they're also capable of managing their own affairs? I'm not sure that is the issue, because we go there to seek for greener pastures. They also came to seek for greener pastures as well. They made a lot of money from our continent. They have basically benefited from us in diverse ways. Now we go there to work for them, right? They don't come here to do the kind of jobs that we do there, right? But we go there to do the kind of jobs that they wouldn't do there. Now the question is, should the policy come in place as scheduled? Should the people or the group of people that happens to fall part or become part of this whole immigration policy be against this? Should there be any concerns with regards to this policy? As an African, it trips my heart so much that if one has to get affected, let me use affected in quotes, by this policy, $34,000, and your aim of traveling to that particular country, has the aim been really achieved? Has the aim been really achieved? Did you travel to Sweden for $34,000? Let's look at it from the angle of the the point of, I mean, the social well-being, economic well-being of this whole issue. Let's look at it from that angle. We travel as Africans and Caribbeans to Europe, America, and the so-called AICs, advanced industrialized countries, to seek for greener pastures. Because like I said earlier on, Africa has been affected by the transatlantic slave trade. And we have a lot of work to do to bring our economies back to standard. One would have expected the fact that Africans wouldn't have even leave their shores to these countries per se. But there's an adage or a dictum in Africa that I want us to look at concerning this particular topic that we are talking about right now. Right. If something did not touch the palm front, it wouldn't have made a noise. People have traveled for several reasons. Basically, not mainly sometimes for the financial gains as well, but also sometimes for the sake of moving out of where they are to a different area where they can find or start a different life or relocate and rejuvenate themselves, as a matter of fact. Traveling to Europe might seem a difficult journey. People have to travel miles, people have to work hard. People even sometimes have to sell family properties, allegedly, to travel to Europe to survive. Now, if you are watching me, leave a comment. Let me know whether you would be happy if you were one of those people. Now, let's take a look at the whole issue from a different angle, as in what are the requirements. And does it sound, I mean, so pleasant? There has been news articles, news items on protests against some of these things. I think some happened in Malmo, Sweden, in the 17th of June 2017. And I must say that this was a sign of displeasure to some of these things. But to some extent, would one or can one say that the government is justified to do this? At long last, it is not your country. It is not your country. It is somebody's own country. But can one, conclude as a matter of fact that it is a policy that basically is in the right direction to bring these people back home? Let's discuss, let's talk about this. Let me get to know your thoughts on this. And what do you think about this? In fact, I'll be glad to see your comments. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and subscribe as well to my channel. To subscribe, just look down the screen. You find a black button with the inscription subscribe. Just click on that subscribe button, and then you will be on your way to joining my community. As a matter of fact, joining my channel so we can discuss these issues that really basically borders the people of the world and, of course, the people of Africa and the Caribbeans. It is a matter of fact an issue that not everyone will be happy with. And like I said earlier on, if you are earning around $1,000 or $1,500 in Sweden, and you have to come home with just one bulk lump sum of $34,000, how is it going to do? How is it going to look for you? How is it going to feel for you? Are you going to be okay with that? If basically you are, supposed to be part of this. Let's get talking. Let's get talking. Let's get talking, viewers. Let's get talking. Let's get talking. Join this live stream and let's see what is really happening right here concerning this issue. If you go to the internet and let's say you Google, for example, it's all over the internet from different, portals, right? And one question that you also need to ask yourself is, should those affected be happy? Is it a sign of good news? Is it a sign of relief? Leaving, the country and returning back home to integrate. Right. Now, for me, if I were there and I was affected, definitely I'll have to come back. I'm an African, and Africa is really my home. Just take a coffee break anyway. Africa is really my home. So I will come back. Let me know if it were you will come back. And why do you want to come back? Why, if it were you want to come back? Imagine spending much time in Sweden, living in an advanced country, in a country where all the pestle factors are in good shape, as we all believe and as we all know. It's returning back to Africa, what the Rastafarians call Zion. Would you like to come back to Zion, to Africa, to come and take your slice of Africa? Or you would prefer to stay there? Viewers, the discussion is getting more interested, and I must once again remind you that the channel is This is Godwin, and my name is Godwin. And for a fact, I must say that if you bring $34,000 to some African countries, it can do something. But in certain other countries too, it cannot do nothing. The point is that individuals are different in their own spheres and endeavor of life. And not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Maybe whilst I live in Sweden, I was working with a corporate entity, I was working in an organization, and I was earning, from what I was doing, from whatever activity that I was doing. Now, when I have to come with 34,000 euro, maybe I cannot be an entrepreneur. So how do I resettle with the 34,000? Viewers, this is an interesting topic, and this is a matter that I think we need to keep discussing as a people and as Africans and as people of the world. It doesn't really affect Africans, right? But as an African, I want to talk for the African, and then for that matter, the Black fraternity, the Caribbean, etc. Now, the $34,000, is it saying that the Black man is capable of managing his own affairs? Like I said earlier on at the beginning of this discussion, let me know the equivalent of this in your country, $34,000. And what are some of the things you think if you were to be among these people, selected immigrants that have to come home? $34,000. If you were to come home with the $34,000, what are some of the things that you could do with it? What can you invest in? What are some of the things? And you think is worth your sweat traveling to live in that particular country? Let me know more. Share your comment, share your comment. It is your comment that basically will make the conversation interesting. And then, as a matter of fact, we could also engage and share ideas. Wherever you're watching me from, I like to say, welcome to my channel. If it is your first time watching, I'd like to say welcome as well. And if you are a returning viewer, let's say thank you very much for choosing my channel as your favorite channel, for watching my videos. It's a Friday here in Ghana where I am. It's a raining Friday, and I'm coming to you live here on my channel. This is Godwin. Travel, lifestyle, places, and what have you. Waiting for your comments. Let me see your comments. Let me see your comments. Tell another brother to tell another brother there's a channel out there that is really basically discussing topical issues, issues of interest, issues that we can all talk about and discuss and learn from this particular story. And now, let me also get to also understand the fact that if by 2026 the policy change that they said no, this is just a scenario I'm drawing. They are withdrawing the the policy. Now people no more have to come. Are people also going to be affected by losing the 34,000 United States dollars? US, the ball is in your court. Let's discuss. Let's share our opinions. Let's, as a people, come together and discuss this issue. It's an issue that bothers everyone on this earth. Let's all come together and then discuss this issue. Now, let me ask this question too as well. In Africa, you only don't, as a matter of fact, travel just for $34,000. Because we believe in the extended family system. We have lots of family members to take care of. People have a lot of burden. People have a lot of responsibilities in Africa. Unlike elsewhere, people can only have their children and then maybe few people that they have to take care of. People taking care of about 10 people, 5 people, and so on and so forth. And arguably, incomes in these countries, talking about the AICs, advanced industrialized countries, and the developed countries, I mean, incomes are much higher as compared to outside of the world. So people don't only just travel just for the beauty of these countries, but also travel to make a living and return back. As an African, I think this relocation agenda has two sides. If people who are willing to come back to Africa come home, I mean, get this package, it is real. And those who doesn't want to come, those who think returning back is impossible for them, what should they do? Life has a lot of choices. Choose who you want to be. So now, some Africans have chosen to travel to live in Europe and all those places. Now, we we are being told that is in Sweden that there's a new migration policy to get people to relocate. Would you say it's fair enough? Looking at the reasons that people travel for different reasons. Now, the story talks about mass immigration, which means that a lot of people that are moving into these countries. Now, the issue would also have, don't you think the issue is also going to have some kind of an economic toll on these countries, as some jobs are being done by some of these migrants? I mean, there are a lot of sectors and areas that you can think of that migrants are working in, as a matter of fact. And wouldn't this also affect some types of jobs when these people have to leave and come back home? Now, let's also talk about the fact that probably there's going to be a selection process. Will there be a selection process? And then what will be the criteria? Now, let's look at those with refugee background. According to the news item, the package also covers travel costs, especially for people who have refugee background, who have been accepted into society. Now, are these policies that have actually started in Sweden and then in Denmark, according to some of the news stories I've read, going to spread across other European countries? Now, like I said, what's going to be the economic consequences of these uh, initiatives on people of Africa, people of the Caribbean, and people from numerous other continents that has traveled to make a living in some of these countries. Let me see your comments. Let me see your comments. Even after the live show, you can still leave a comment in the comment section. And I think, let me also know, like I said earlier on, what the amount that has been pledged can do in your country. Is the exchange rate going to favor the amount that has been pledged? But like I said earlier on, there might have been research that have gone into this whole issue to, as a matter of fact, voice or authenticate how much is being paid to the affected people, as a matter of fact. In fact, the government, according to my research, have realized that if incentives to let people return back is not successful, they're going to use other means, including forced deportations. Right. And would that actually be fair if people have to, as a matter of fact, be deported forcefully? Now, another question here is, if people are coming back to their countries, you're talking about integration, social integration. The money is not bad, but how can some of these people easily integrate back into the societies? I think that goes beyond financial incentives, right? So for me, I was also thinking of, if those who doesn't have skills could also be considered by giving them certain training before they relocate to their countries, as well as the amount of money that will be given to them. People can be trained in various trades. People can be trained in various aspects, so that when they come back relocating, they only just don't come with money, but they also come back with a skill as well. Because skills are also very valuable. As a matter of fact, skills are valuable when it comes to reintegrating into the society. Like I said, people can come back, and that $34,000 or that amount of money that the government is wishing to offer would mean nothing. So for me, if you have to ask my opinion on this, I would say to also better foster this reintegration system and this policy. They could also identify training needs of some of the people that can be affected and be given training as well. So basically, they can come with both money, capital, and skills to relocate back into their countries. I think this would really sound very well and will be laudable. If you side with me on this very pronunciation that I made, kindly leave a comment. Let me know if adding skills to the program would, as a matter of fact, also improve the value of these people that are going to be made to relocate back into their countries. Let me know your comments. Let me know what you think about this very suggestion. Is it laudable? And do you think it's also going to add value? Let me know what you think. Share your thoughts. Let me know what you think of it. But make sure your comments are air friendly. And also make sure that your comment does not violate the community guidelines of the YouTube platform or the YouTube channel as well. Now, should the training and skilling be accepted? Do you think this will be 100% initiative on the part of the government to, as a matter of fact, I mean, let people return back to their countries? Now, as a people, as an African, I believe that we as a people have some kind of skills that are also contributing to the economies. We cannot only talk about the negative aspect, as the local adage in my country says, there's a third born in every house, right? So you cannot have a group of people where people are perfect. So now, if the policy would have to be skewed towards the few people that allegedly been said to have brought about certain issues, certain things, or certain problems into the society. Now, let's talk about the fact that the Africans over there, the immigrants over there, have also contributed to the economy, right? So, is it a payback for their contribution to the economy or to the country, or it is just a form of a sales promotion to sort of incentivize people to leave? My point is that if this should be the case, then people also need to be retrained and reskilled. People also need to be trained and skilled. So they don't just come with just the relocation package, but they also come with what? Skills as well. I've been on air for 1 hour continuously, dissecting and bisecting this issue. Let's, as a matter of fact, leave a comment and get involved in this discussion. Let's talk about this important issue. Let's get to understand the fact that the issue is not going to be comprehensive. Let me know if you live in Sweden whether the issue is going to be comprehensive, it's going to affect everybody or a selected few people. Thank you very much for watching. This is my live show. The video will still be available on my YouTube channel. This is Godwin in the live section. And you can go there and leave your comments, leave your thoughts about this topic. But like I said, the comments must follow some kind of order and decorum. And might not should not offend, I mean, societal prohibition, and as a matter of fact, the community guidelines of YouTube. Comments that are made on this live show are not that of the comments of myself and my channel, but the comments of individuals and viewers. Hit that subscribe button and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode. Watch my other videos as well. I have a lot of interesting videos about Africa, and I mean, they are very interesting. Comment, share, like, and subscribe.